Hi guys, welcome to Buck and Jack. I'm Adrian and today we are in my apartment overlooking the Thames, quite a nice area of London, overlooking the South Bank of the... I'm absolutely bullshitting. I'm at the Royal Festival Hall. This isn't my apartment. I wish it was because it's quite an epic view, although today it's a shit view because it's so cloudy. Anyway, welcome to the channel if you're new here. I'm Adrian. I talk about watches, I drink coffee, and that's it. So this video, as the title and I don't know what the thumbnail is going to be, but whatever the thumbnail implies, this video is about how you can get a Rolex for free. A real Rolex. This is not a scam, this is no BS. This is something that I've personally done 3 times now. 4 times? 4 times now. And so it absolutely works. This is the 3rd time of making this video. Simply because I've applied meaning to this process, and I want to talk about meaning, and the meaning that I apply to this process isn't necessarily going to be the same meaning that you apply to this process. So, for example, the past 2 times that I've made this video, it's been about investing in watches, but ultimately this is about how you can get a watch for free, a Rolex or other hard-to-find watches. So firstly, I want to talk about meaning. An item is an item, a process is a process, and a behavior is a behavior. How you interpret that item, that process, or that behavior, you then apply meaning. For example, this coffee here, my wife can't stand it that I buy coffee. The meaning she applies to this coffee is that it's a waste of money, it's bad for the environment because the cap's not recyclable, nor is the cup. Therefore, not only am I damaging the environment, but I'm also wasting my money because I've got a perfectly good coffee machine at home. However, the meaning I apply to this coffee cup is the fact that I can't make coffee this good. And also, I like to drink coffee regardless of where I am. I don't want to be restricted to drinking coffee at home. So that's the meaning I've applied to this. The whole point of that section is the fact that I buy watches as an investment. That's simply because that's the meaning that I've put on that watch. That doesn't mean you have to put the same meaning on watches, but that's just what I do. I'm not a wealthy guy. I don't have a lot of money to spend on watches, so that's just how I see it. It's like putting money in the bank, but it's far, far more enjoyable. It also can make you money. I'm freezing my arse off here, so I'm going to shoot home and continue this video at home. We'll see you in a second. Back home now, in the warm, with a coffee, fresh coffee, home coffee. People usually associate buying Rolexes or Rolex wearers with people who have more money than sense. I get some people commenting negative comments on Rolexes. It kind of feels like as soon as you mention Rolex in a video or within a thumbnail or title, that it brings a lot of negativity, which I think is quite bizarre. And there's somewhat of a paradox around it as well, with the fact that people associate Rolex wearers with those who have more money than sense and therefore waste their money. However, if you want to just go spend a whole load of money on a watch, you can actually do far, far worse than spending money on a Rolex. You could buy, there's so many brands in the same price bracket as Rolex, Omega, Tag Heuer, Breitling. As soon as you buy any of those brands and walk out of the authorized dealer, the AD, the watch depreciates massively. Now, not saying that all Rolexes are a safe bet, and that they will depreciate as that initial walk out, but nowhere near to the level of a Tag Heuer or an Omega at that matter as well. And this is my point, is that I wear Rolex. This is what I tell a lot of people. I wear Rolex because I say that I'm poor. There are people, far, far more people wealthy than me, far, far more people. I'm not going to talk about my personal finances. I'm not a rich guy. But I tell people that I wear Rolex because I'm poor. I couldn't afford to go and spend £3,500 on an Omega Speedmaster Professional. I can afford to spend £3,500 on a Rolex Explorer 1 pre-owned, 14270. Same money, but completely different product that you're ending up with. One product is a cool watch, great watch, loads of history, but it's going to depreciate massively. That money is gone. You'll probably be able to resell that watch for £2,500. So you've dropped £1,000. The Rolex Explorer 1, you could resell for the same money, or at a take, lose 200 quid. But the difference is massive. So that's why I wear Rolex. And this is kind of the whole model for this video. There's a fantastic book. I disliked it for a long time simply because of the title, but the book's called Rich Dad Poor Dad. Can't remember who wrote it. I'll put a link in the description. And it describes this process or this mindset perfectly, and it's all around buying assets rather than buying liabilities. By buying that Omega Speedmaster Professional, you're buying a liability because you can't get that money back. By buying a Rolex Explorer 1, you're buying an asset because you can get that money back, or that thing's going to make money for you. That's the simple process behind this. And this is why I want to do that kind of thing about meaning at the start. People are going to get so upset about this process, and they're going to say the standard thing of buy the watch you want and wear it as a watch. Fine, that's the meaning that you've applied to a watch. The meaning that I've applied is I've got money in the bank that I want to do something with. I want to get better returns than what I have in the savings account, and there's a way of doing that. The fact that it's a watch, it doesn't matter. It could be gold, it could be diamonds, it could be shares, it could be anything. The vehicle in which I do this investment, it doesn't matter what that is. It just happens that I'm interested and passionate about watches, and that passion can also make me money. So the kind of proof in this is if you have money in the bank, that's going to earn you. In England, the interest rates are shocking. They're going up ever so slightly, but they're shocking at the moment. They're probably going to get around less than 1% to around 3% for a good account. Even in an ISA, it's pretty shocking. And that's going to make you no money. On £1,000 in the bank, that's going to make you 30 quid. So the first Rolex I bought was probably around 5 years ago. It was the Explorer 2, the 16570 with the polar dial. Now I bought that for about £2,600, no box, no papers, and I sold it 2 years later for £2,800. Not a massive return, but I managed to wear a Rolex, my first Rolex, a £2,600 watch, and sell it for more money than what I paid for it, and I got to wear it for 2 years. That's the first instance of this working. The second instance is my Kermit, the 16610 LV, the 50th anniversary Submariner. I bought that with box and papers. It was in pristine condition, pretty much new condition. If I sold that now, today, having owned it for 18 months, I would have made around 25 to 30% profit off that watch. Now compare that to having the same amount of money in the bank over the same period of time. I would have made 2%, 1.5%, really, because the interest rates have only just gone up. So that return is not comparable. If I sold it now, I'd make around £1,500 to £2,000 profit after 18 months. So really, overall, it's making me £100 a month. So how this all works, I'm not talking about all Rolexes here. You can't simply go into an authorized dealer, pick up a two-toned Datejust, or a Datejust 2 at that matter, but even worse, and expect to get your money back, because those things depreciate massively. The kind of very loose rule of thumb is any steel Rolex that's in the sports range is a safe bet. So the way to buy a Rolex for free, and this is what the smart rich people do, I don't claim to be in either of those categories, but basically you've got two categories. You've got new, you've got pre-owned. If you're going to go down the new route, you've pretty much only got the Rolex GMT Master 2, the BLNR, that you can do this process with. You could do it with a Daytona, but you're not going to find one. You could do it with a 50th anniversary Sea Dweller. Again, you're not going to find one. If you do find those, snap them up, because they are ridiculously good kind of prospects for this process. But the Batman is pretty much the only thing that you can do with that at the moment. The waitlist is still very long, but you just need to work your arse off to get this. Again, this process isn't an easy one to do if you're going to do it correctly. But ultimately, you just need to call around as many 80s as you can, get your name on as many waitlists as you can, and just be patient. If you're happy to get on the pre-owned route, that opens up so many doors for you. Pretty much the rule is anything Rolex that's pre-owned, that's stainless steel, and it's a sports watch, it's pretty much game on. And then you have to research the hell out of the market value and figure out what is the actual market value for the different models, because you can't just look at a Submariner, for example. I'm sure you know this, but you can't just look at a Submariner and just take it as face value, because there are so many variants. There'll be little things in a watch that can make it be worth a huge amount of money. You just need to do your research, and you're making sure that you're buying it below the market value. If you're not doing that, then you're shooting yourself in the foot. If you're paying a premium on that watch above the market value, you have to make that space back again before you start making any profit, or before you break even. So you're just making it harder for yourself. Don't be impatient. Do as much research as you can, do as much hunting as you can, and figure out a price which you want to pay for a watch, and wait around until it happens, because it will happen. You just need to work your arse off for it. Pretty much for 6 months, every day I was coming home, I was scouring the internet for this Kermit at the price that I wanted it at, and I found it. It took a lot of people saying, no, I'm not going to reduce it to that much, or laughing at the offer that I wanted to buy the watch at. But I don't care. That's the kind of level that I wanted to spend on a watch. So I don't really give a shit what the resellers were wanting. It's that I'm the buyer, so I can set my own limits. The other side of it is haggling. Never be scared to haggle. If you're concerned about haggling, or you feel embarrassed to haggle, because some kid down there has written, if you can't afford to buy a Rolex, don't buy a Rolex. One, they either haven't got a clue what they're talking about, or two, they fit in the category of people who only buy a Rolex because it's expensive. If you go hang around in an authorized dealer, or go hang around in any watch shop and listen to the guys who are buying expensive watches, seriously high-end watches, and you'll hear them haggle the hell out of it. So you haggle when you buy a watch as well. That being said, you're not going to be able to haggle a Batman at an authorized dealer, but pretty much anything else you can haggle. Certainly a Datejust you can haggle. It's all about buying that asset, not that liability. If someone's not giving you the price that you want, then leave, go somewhere else, and take your business there. So be confident about haggling, and don't listen to people who say, if you can't afford it, don't do it. F off. This is how I afford to do it. It's worked for me, and there's no reason why it can't work for you. I've haggled on every single watch purchase that I've had, and I've been successful simply because I'm persistent. I'm not necessarily persistent with them. If they don't want to engage in negotiations, then it doesn't matter. I'm not bothered. There's so many people who sell watches. And in fact, funnily enough, those who I have successfully haggled with or negotiated with, is the kind of nicer term, I've actually created relationships with those people. That is it. If you've got money in the bank, or you have access to money, you have time to do research into what watches you think are going to be good investments or strong pieces, and then you have time and patience to scour the internet to find that watch at the price that you want, then you've done it. If you pay someone £6,000 for a watch, and 2 years later you get £6,500 back, have I lost any money? No. So that's how you get a Rolex for free. What else can you do that with? You couldn't spend £6,000 on a car, drive it for 2 years, and then get £6,000 back again. So there are so many things in life that you can waste money on, but watches, you can do quite a good job. I wouldn't go spend £200 on a pair of shoes, because that's a liability. I would quite happily spend £2,000, £3,000, £4,000 on a watch, because that's an asset. That my money is safe there. My money's not safe in those shoes. Those shoes have just wasted £200 of my money. And that's just how this process works. And that's how I afford watches, because I live frugally in the rest of my life, and I buy sensibly when it comes to watches. I can't wait to hear your views on this. I know there's going to be such a huge amount of negativity around treating watches in this way. It's like when I first got into watches, and I was hearing about people buying watches and just locking them away in a safe. I thought, that's barbaric. How could you buy something that is built to be worn, but is also so hard to find, yet it's just locked away in a safe? When you think about it, it's genius. Go get yourself a Batman, lock it away in a safe, put it in a safety deposit box in a bank, and then get it out in 5, 6, 10 years time, 20 years time, with all the stickers on it, with all the swing tags, and then you flog that, and you'll make a shit ton of money. It's genius. It's that whole thing around meaning. I can't help but feel it is barbaric, but at the same time, it is genius. It's the meaning. Things can have two meanings. Anyway, that is my view on certain watches, not all watches, and this is also the process on how you can get a Rolex for free. And this is genuinely isn't bullshit. If you follow these steps and you kind of put the time in, then it absolutely will work for you. Can't wait to hear your views on whether you agree with this or whether you've done it yourself, whether you've sold a watch and made a bit of profit or just made your money back. I mean, at the end of the day, if you make your money back and you've worn a watch for a couple of years, and that's brilliant. That's still a free watch for a couple of years. It's no-brainer. Right, I'm going to let you guys go. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Hit that like button as well if you like the video. And go check us out on Instagram at Bark and Jack. And I'll see you next time. Take care.